Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo from the Dating Advice Guru at datingadviceguru.com. There are four things you should know about men. Well, there's probably a whole lot more than that, but there's four really big things you should know about men. It's funny how women are perceived as mysterious when, in fact, men can be quite the enigma as well. This is especially true if you're dating one of those I don't want to talk about it kind of guys, right? The ones that are not too big on sharing their feelings. Your guy might not be that keen on sharing everything on his mind, and particularly if you're a relatively new couple. But blame it on the fact that a lot of men were raised to think that talking about the touchy feely stuff is a sign of weakness. Plus, a lot of men tend to hold back to play it cool and avoid looking needy or desperate. Whatever the reasons are, a lot of men have common thoughts on being in a relationship. More importantly, it's good that you get to know them in order to eliminate potential misunderstandings. So, number one thing you should know about men is uncomplicated equals bliss. Your guy might have a successful career, an active social life, and a bunch of hobbies, but at the very core, he wants to keep things simple, especially when it comes to his relationship with you. He's not into having hour-long discussions of where is this going or trying to figure out why you're upset at him for days on end. Unfortunately, a lot of women put their guy through this gauntlet, and it can be tiresome for guys. It's not that it's necessarily that you're doing anything bad, but it does wear on a guy. It's not that men don't appreciate emotional intelligence in a woman either. At some point, however, they'll get worn down if a girl wears her heart on her sleeve all the time. There's always going to be a part of your guy that wants to get through the day without dealing with emotional chaos, which some relationships tend to generate. It doesn't mean you should keep everything to yourself so you don't rock the boat. It's just that guys would rather if their partner was straight to the point and not drag things out, like when you're having an argument, for example. Now, to keep him happy, pick your battles wisely. Save the arguments for the big issues in your relationship. For the smaller stuff, just let him know you felt bad when he said or did something so he doesn't feel like he has to fight about every little thing that comes up. If you store it up, it can turn into a much worse situation. Men are more upfront in the way they communicate. And so you better connect with them if you deal with them the same way. Number two is what you see is what you get. This is the number two thing you should know about men. What you see is what you get. Guys are usually consistent with themselves, meaning they don't often change who they are over time. If they do want to change something about themselves, though, they need to be motivated from within and not because someone forced them to. That means your guy is probably going to reject any and all efforts you might make to change some part of his personality. Men resist because they don't like it when they think they're not living up to some ideal guy in their partner's mind. This is what makes a guy push back if they feel that their partner is trying to fix or improve him in some way. His ego will kick in and you'll have a fight on your hands. If you do manage to get him to change his ways, it's likely to be short lived. What's more, some part of him is going to be resentful for being pressured into it. So instead of trying to mold him into somebody that you want, he'd much rather that you accept him for who he is. There's really no way around it. It's one of the most primary drives of a man is to be accepted within a relationship. Having said that, though, you can get him to make some changes in the relationship by giving him the motivation to do so. For example, he's going to shut down if you confronted him by saying, "You never spend time with me anymore. Your job is more important than me. How can you be so selfish?" Where he's put on the defense, very bad. The better way to plant the idea of changing something is by using a different approach. Instead of making up labels or making and using labels for him like lazy, immature, pig-headed, things like that, which are they're very much an attack on him, try bringing up the issue in a way that doesn't make him defensive. Say something like, "I really love it when we spend time together. Things have been really crazy lately with our schedules, but it would really be great if we made more of an effort to see each other more." Now, this way you can suggest the idea that changing his work habits is a good thing instead of forcing it on him. So there's that happy medium where you can be forward with your thoughts about making key changes without having to sugarcoat them. Number three thing you need to know about guys is look at what he does, not what he says. You know those guys who say they'll call but never do? A lot of women spend way too much time trying to figure out the reasons behind this, but the problem is that they're overcomplicating things. If he was acting sweet and affectionate one minute and cold and detached the next, it simply means he doesn't feel enough attraction to pursue the relationship. That's pretty much all there is to it, okay? He might have gotten cold feet for some reason, or met somebody else, or maybe he's just come out of a previous relationship and he realized he isn't ready yet. Whatever his reasons are, it still boils down to what he actually does. He might give you a bunch of excuses, but his actions will tell you the real story. Now, don't take it personally when a guy goes incommunicado or goes dark on you. Radio silence does not mean that you're not good enough for him. It just means he's not the right guy for you. All right? Keep that in mind. Now, number four is he's not going to fall off the face of the earth for you. A lot of women don't understand that guys don't like being crowded in a relationship. Your guy doesn't feel the need to be attached at the hip, okay? He needs that little breather from time to time. And this is why guys are known for saying, I need space when they feel too boxed into the relationship. Hey, even women say this, okay? It's a common feeling when you feel like you're being smothered. And when a girl makes him give up other relationships in his life to spend more time with her, he's going to get territorial. Freedom is like oxygen to a man. Think about it that way. And if he perceives any threat to that oxygen, he'll be on the defensive. He's going to run in the opposite direction if someone asks him to drop his other priorities like a hot potato. Remember, guys love it when their partner appreciates the fact that they also have other stuff going on in their life. Above all, he's not going to like it if you try to come between him and his buddies. Don't go down that road. The rebellious teenager in him is going to sneak off and do what he wants anyways. Like we talked about earlier, your guy is not a fan of drama. Instead of fighting with him about it, get busy with your own life when he's out. Do your own thing instead of worrying about his thing. Besides, you both need to keep yourselves interesting and energized in the relationship, so a little time apart never hurt anybody. In fact, he's not going to let you get too far from him. Once he's done with his own stuff, he'll come looking for you. All right? The truth is that there's a lot more depth to guys than they'll let on. And when your guy knows that you get him on that level, he'll tell himself, this one's a keeper. And if you want to keep a guy for good, hey, there's a way to do that. If you want to keep a guy for good, check out the powerful program I have called How to Read His Signals. You'll see a link below, or you can get it at datingadviceguru.com/readhissignals. It's a done-for-you system that maps out the male mind. It gives you the unfair advantage to capture his heart. Again, it's at www.datingadviceguru.com/readhissignals. All one word, read his signals. datingadviceguru.com/read his signals. Go on over there. At the very least, make sure you get on my newsletter. I've got a ton of great free stuff to give you there, but it all happens by getting going and doing it. Go over to datingadviceguru.com right now, and I'll be talking to you again soon. This is Carlos Cavallo.